Hello everybody, welcome back to Alton Park. We are just a few minutes away from the start of the British Superbike race this weekend. Now don't forget, this is the make-up race from the Brands Hatch round that was rained off. We had to stop halfway through earlier on this month. If you were watching, I'm sure you'll remember it. We certainly do. The Trenchfoot has yet to clear up. We're about to bring you that race here at Alton Park, and also after that we're bringing you the sprint race from the British Supersport Championship event. So plenty of great action to bring you from the British Superbike Championship. As you can see behind me, the guys are lining up on the grid, and James Whittam is out there. So Jim, it's all yours.
Cheers, Tony, old lad. I'm back on, would you believe, row 5 with reigning champ and a man who's going to start off pole position for tomorrow's racing. But this grid is made up from brands qualifying. You've got some work to do here.
Yeah, just trying to make it exciting for everyone watching Eurosport today. So, yeah, got my work cut out. I saw Yamaha on the team, but we know we've got the pace. You know, we've had good qualifying. We topped all 3 qualifying sessions, but
yeah, they look quite easy as well, to be honest.
It's never easy. Never easy. If it was easy, you know, I'll be doing it every weekend. But yeah, I think for us it's a matter of just trying to do 16 of those laps that I've done in qualifying. But it's never easy when you've got a few lads in front that are maybe riding differently or different styles or bikes that work differently in different corners. So we'll see.
Keep out of trouble, eh?
That's the plan, man. It's a bit tight around here, but that's the plan.
Good luck, Tommy.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to go forward now. We're looking at Lucas Gasser, Paget's Honda. I'm looking over here. We've got Freddie Foray, Frenchman. Right across to Dan Linfoot, Yorkshireman, there on the BMW. Watch where you're going with that. He's spinning around like a top. Well, I've ordered me on here. Chris, that's not too shabby. 3rd row. This is going off brands qualifying, obviously, but you're going to be 3rd row again for tomorrow.
Yeah, happy days, really. We've been on the pace all weekend, and the bike's pretty good, I have to say. And it's nice to finally, it's looking like getting a dry race, which is what we've been lacking, I think. You know, we didn't do any pre-season testing, so this will be first proper race for us, really, with the drama we had at Thruxton.
Track conditions, good. About perfect with the look of it for me.
Genuinely, it's as good as it's ever been at Alton Park. The track's real good, plenty of grip. The surface is good in a few places where they've worked on it over the last couple of years. So, no, it is really good. I think the race will be really exciting. There's a few good guys like Shaky here next to me that will be charging and going through, and I'm fingers crossed I'll make a bit of space and Stalker can follow him through.
Enjoy it, fella.
I will do, mate. Always do.
Right, we go. This is row 3. I tell you what, we'll have seeing as we're here, look, mind your little sideboard here. A little weekend K session.
A little rest.
Chamburn, Rapid Solicitors. Game caught up on it. Rapid Solicitors, Kawasaki. How's things going?
Yeah, pretty good, to be honest. Obviously starting from the 3rd row ain't ideal, but there's people in far worse positions for this one race. But qualifying went well today. We ended up 2nd for races tomorrow, so yeah, pretty happy.
Yeah, so you should really have the pace if you can make the start to get through in this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people I think that it's quite important to get past as quick as possible, but then hopefully the race will settle down a little bit and we can sort of pick them off as and when.
You're going to get a shave for tomorrow?
Well, I might do.
Good luck, man.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Right, let me get out from a bit tight there. Right, let's have a look forward. We've got James Westmoreland there. We're looking right across. I'll tell you what, let's go and have a word with Josh Brooks. Josh Brooks here. So, do you want to get... That's it. Come on, try and keep up. Josh, front row now. This is based on the Brands Hatch qualifying. Front row here, and you're just about in the same place for tomorrow's racing based on the qualifying we've just had. You've got a lot to look forward to. You like it around here, don't you? We've seen that.
Yeah, I do like it. I haven't yet been able to make it turn into a race win. Hopefully that's this weekend. Hopefully it's today. Yeah, we just weren't quite quick enough to get the pole today, but you know, I think our race pace is just as good as everyone else. So
that looks good. You look smooth.
Yeah. And did I tell you what I see yesterday?
You're going to do another one of those, because I'm going to say no now.
Everything I looked at.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
There's this little bit of a thing going now with me and Josh. Because I've had a bit of a go at him a couple of times, he's now having a right go at me. He's got me twice now on the trot, and I don't like that really, although he's not going to stop. We're looking at John Kirkham. That's good for that boy. Really good. And we're looking then across. We're looking across there to Poleman at Brands. That's Alistair Seeley. He, would you believe, has to start from 20th on the grid for tomorrow's races based on the qualifying we've just had earlier on today. That's about it. Looking, I can just about remember this shot from the front row here at Alton Park. Brilliant circuit. We've got absolutely awesome conditions here. It's going to be a real good one. Tony, over to you, pal.
Thanks very much, Wed. Yes, I'm here with Sean Muir at the end of pit lane. And Sean, we've talked a lot about these. This last time Noriyuki Haga, one of your riders, was here. Let's take a quick look at these pictures. in case anybody at home hasn't seen these before. They are quite horrific. They were when Noriyuki Haga was here before. There you go. Look at that. It's like something out of a Hollywood disaster film, isn't it? As he's riding past them, as another rider's bike caught into a fireball. Now, we've asked Norrie if he remembers this, and he says he doesn't really. Have you sensed any sort of extra stress about Norrie going into this round at all because of that?
No, not at all. To be honest, a lot of racing has been done since then. It was actually, it's probably the most famous photograph to be taken at Open Park. But no, it was got caught up in someone else's mess. But no, he's in good shape. You know, Norrie's, he's feeling really, really strong. He's coming to circuits now that he starts to feel comfortable. He's really feeling like the bike belongs to him now. And qualifying there just proved it, but clearly not for this race.
Interesting that Haga and Hill, your two riders, are on the front row. For this one, they're on row 6, I think it is, 17 and 19. What's the game plan?
Let's keep them close together. They didn't want to leave each other out of company, but no, it's a long way. We've got to push it hard now and go from the back of the grid and see what we can do. Very best of luck for that. Let's get on then with this first race from Alton and go over to Jack and James.
And going from the 5th row of the grid, don't Sean Muir's men know that they've got to try and keep out of trouble here? As Tommy Hill was saying, there are people ahead of him that he's not used to riding with, so he's got to find out the hard way how it is to pick his way through from row 5 here at Alton Park. Norrie Haga faces the same prospect, hopefully without that fireball right under his front wheel. And that wonderful Mickey taking Australian on the front row, Josh Brooks, reminds us that when 500cc British Championship racing first ever arrived at Alton Park on August Bank Holiday in 1959, it was an Australian, Bob Brown, who took victory ahead of the legendary Mike Halewood. So does that hold an omen for Josh Brooks here at Alton Park?
You know, this is quite intriguing. We've got people way up on the grid who, for tomorrow's races, based on the performance already this weekend round Alton Park, shouldn't really be at the front of the grid, and we've got people
one of them
on the grid.
Is Alex Polita next to Shaky Byrne. I've just been having a chat with Alex Polita, the former European Superstock 1000 champion, who tells me that his delightful kid sister, who races in the Italian Championship, is currently doing the Puerto Rican Championship this very weekend for Castrol Kawasaki over in South America. So we wish Alicia Polita all the best, as indeed we do her big brother. The standings after 3 of 26 races in an AMCE British Superbike Championship. Ian Lowry, Paget's Racing Honda on 49. The previously mentioned Josh Brooks, Taiko Suzuki on 47. John Kirkham, Samsung Honda on 43. Tommy Hill, defending champion on 40, 2 points ahead of Shaky Byrne's Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki, whose teammate Stuart Easton is on 24 points. 7th, James Westmoreland for WFR Honda. 8th, Alistair Seeley on pole this time around for Taiko Suzuki. 9th, Lucas Scassa on the 2nd Paget's Racing Honda, and 10th place for Michael Rutter's Batham's MSS Kawasaki, ahead of the Supersonic Racing Team for Tommy Bridewell in 11th. Gary Mason's Quattro Plant Kawasaki, which has a great starting position on the front row of the grid, is 12th. Michael Laverty, Samsung Honda, 13th, ahead of Norrie Haga, Dan Linfoot, Alex Lowes and Graham Gowland, the teammates, together in 16th place, ahead of Freddie Foray, Chris Walker and Alex Polita. The starting grid as preordained at Brands Hatch in the opening round. Alistair Seeley's Taiko Suzuki on pole. John Kirkham 2nd. Josh Brooks 3rd. Gary Mason, Quattro Plant Kawasaki 4th. He'll be 24th tomorrow. Paget's Racing Honda's Ian Lowry heads up row 2 ahead of MSS Batham's Kawasaki's Michael Rutter. James Westmoreland, Team WFR, and Tommy Bridewell's Supersonic Racing Team BMW. Motor Rapido Racing's Ducati, Scott Smart heads up row 3 ahead of Polita, Shaky Byrne and Chris Walker. And row 4, Dan Linfoot, Freddie Foray, Lucas Scassa and James Hillier. It is, as James Whittam said, a fascinating lineup, because there are men on rows 5 and 6 and 7 who are wickedly quick round here this weekend.
It's almost like a reverse grid for some people.
Perhaps we ought to do this more often. Yeah. But actually, it leaves my heart slightly in my mouth.
Here we go.
Let's wait and see what happens. We're looking forward to race 1 of 3 here at Alton Park in MCE Insurance British Superbikes.
Holding a long time.
The lights go out, the race begins, and a great start by Alistair Seeley, but across comes Josh Brooks, and also, I think Gary Mason just snooped through in 2nd place on the Quattro Kawasaki. It's a 16-lapper here at Alton Park, 2.7 miles round the picturesque Cheshire circuit, and it is Josh Brooks at the front, where he'd sure like to be.
From Gary Mason, and I tell you what, Gary Mason, on the form he showed here already this weekend, will not stay there.
No, you wouldn't think
No,
so. But then,
definitely not.
James, when you think of how you can get sucked along by the people around you...
That's going to be a big sucking job, isn't that? I'll tell you.
Well, so far, he's just lost the one place as John Kirkham dives underneath him.
That's a big crash already.
And is that an island?
That's coming...
That's out of Cascades at Lakeside.
That's between Cascades. That's a big crash.
Fast crash. First lap of 16, and they come over the crest of the hill, and one of the bikes down. That's number 36, and that's Bin Laden from on the Motor Rapido Racing Ducati, as they dip right and left through the chicane at Knickerbrook and then off up Clay Hill. We've already lost 3 riders on the first lap.
I was just going to say there were other riders involved in that for sure.
And now blattering across the top of Clay Hill. Brooks, number 2 on the blue and white Suzuki, leads the way just ahead of the blue and white Honda, Samsung Honda. The safety car is out, so everyone will have to settle down and simmer down in the order in which they are now, with the Quattro Kawasaki still there in 4th place, behind Alistair Seeley, now 3rd.
Yeah, and you saw the riders there mid-pack. It's a first lap situation, lots of riders around you. You want to put your hand up, stick your leg out, make sure you know everybody around it has seen that the flags are out, the pace car's out, or the safety car's out, sorry. You don't want to get clocked. Oh, this is it. Oh, that was on his own.
Because that was further down the track.
That's at the hairpin, that I think.
So the guy who was starting last on the grid, let's hope that he's okay. He certainly went into, I think the air fence might have done a pretty good job. Carl Harris, who's here spectating today, of course, is testament to how good that air fence is, because he's bounced off there with phenomenal venom in the past and picked himself up and walked away. But it looks like Bin Laden's not quite going to do that. We're on that. Meantime, we've got to know, has this happened behind the pace car? That's a Kawasaki that's gone down.
No, that is the one that was just earlier than the Bin Laden crash. There were definitely 2 riders involved in that. It was Freddie Forey and we're hearing Alex Laws.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So is that Freddie Forey's Quattro plant bike being pushed away?
Yep.
So at the moment then, Josh Brooks in the lead, Kirkham 2nd, Seeley 3rd, 2 Tyco Suzukis in the top 3, Gary Mason 4th, Ian Lowry, Paget's Honda 5th on bike number 5, and then 6th place for Shaky Byrne, 7th Michael Rutter, 8th Tommy Bridewell, 9th Tommy Hill from row 5 said I'll just take it steady and work my way through, 9th. 10th for Chris Walker, 11th Lucas Gasser, 12th James Westmoreland. Never believe anything a racer tells you. And this 13th Norrie Haga, 14th Quigley, 15th Hillier.
And this is perfect for Tommy Hill because he will be in 9th, and by the time they come round and they've got the debris cleared up and they go back to racing, he should be, although still 9th, he should be within striking distance of the riders in front.
He needs Michael Rutter and Tommy Bridewell just to get a little leg on, because there's a big gap at the moment behind Shaky Byrne.
And if you were behind those riders, especially Rutter, you would be annoyed at them not getting right onto the back of the rider in front of them.
Michael looks to be trying to close the gap now.
Yep.
Of course, what we forget is these guys are still pedalling along at a fair pace by the standards of me and my James Captain, James.
By the standards of your normal track day men, these are still going really, really, really quick, I'll tell you.
So Josh Brooks was the man who just set the fastest lap of the race, incidentally, before the pace car came out, was Shaky Byrne with a 154.915. He's in 6th place.
Yeah, and he'd come through from, where's he come from? 3rd row. Just
looking for Norrie Haga, started on the same row. Oh, he's in 13th place, of course. Haga, Quigley 14th, Hillier is 15th, 16th Alex Polita, which is about where he started on the grid, and 17th for Graham Gowland.
And we can see that, I think that's Alex Lowe's going off, yeah, and there's the oil flags, or lack of adhesion flags, call them what you want. There's something on the track down at between Cascades and Island. So the safety car's in this lap.
Oh, I don't like the look of that, with those people hurtling past just above his head.
Yeah, they're not going to... there's no way they're going to end up going on top of them. From the other way they might.
And Michael Rutter still not quite there. There's Tommy Hill, number 1 on the red and yellow Yamaha, just trying to push Rutter and Bridewell along a bit. Incidentally, I've had a text from Nicky Hoyle saying, nice to see Brad Pitt spannering from Tommy Bridewell this weekend.
Is it? He likes his bike.
Perhaps it's a look-alike.
Don't tell my missus.
Number 2, Josh Brooks, leads the way quietly behind the pace car. He's the man, of course, who can govern how fast the bikes take off and when the bikes take off after the pace car comes in. The lights are off on the pace car.
The safety car will come in, but you're not allowed to overtake until you cross the start and finish line. So here we go. It's all down to Josh Brooks now.
And Josh wastes no time. Just mono wheels across the brow of Deer Leap, and he just hurtles into the first turn. Straight away, Seeley decides that he's going to get the better of John Kirkham. This is a pretty impressive from the wee wizard, because he crashed out right at the start, down here in fact at Cascades, at the start of qualifying 2, which is why he's down in 20th place for tomorrow's grid. So the 2 Taiko Suzukis, 1-2 at the front. Ian Lowry has pushed straight through past number 101 Gary Mason. So too has Shaky Byrne. Tommy Hill's made progress as well.
Tommy Hill is going to look. Here's come Kirkham back on Seeley. Perfect.
I thought Kirkham wouldn't take that sitting down. He was obviously just a little sluggard, a little laggardly at getting going again. But now number 10, Kirkham. Ian Lowry, who got knocked off the second row of the grid in qualifying 3 this afternoon, is showing that he's certainly on the pace coming round here at the moment. The Paget Honda in 4th place. Behind him is the equally white-looking Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki of Shaky Byrne. There he is.
Tommy Hill, he's still where he was. He's stuck behind Rutter, but he's got to start making moves now, because this field is going to string out again.
Yeah, he did nip past Bridewell, but Rutter he has still in front of him. There is number 5, Ian Lowry, championship leader, of course. Let us not forget.
Don't he look confident on that Honda?
Yeah, he's really absolutely over. He's bouncing, isn't he? Absolutely bouncing. Former runner-up in the Supersport Championship, of course. Behind one Michael Laverty, who's in 23rd place, having had to start from the very last row of the grid alongside Stuart Easton. In fact, they're running in 22nd and 23rd, or they were at the end of the last lap as we watched Lowry make him. No, not quite. It was Shaky Byrne making a move on Lowry into Old Hall Corner and nicking 4th place.
And it is Shaky Byrne who's going forward here. He had the fastest lap in the first couple of laps of this race.
Josh Brooks, 137.636, fastest lap of the second part of this race. But look at Shaky, fastest lap on the screen or not, he's moving through.
He is.
Shaky Byrne, a man, of course, who's no stranger to victory here at Alton Park.
He's not having any of it, isn't Kirkham, though. Straight back under Shaky going into the hairpin there.
Kirkham's impressive.
Mason out, I think.
And that's a problem for Gary Mason and the Quattro Kawasaki. Look at this, and I didn't expect number 34, the second place Taiko Suzuki, to be in quite such penetrative form of this, but as we watch, Shaky thought about getting underneath the number 10 Honda again, but just didn't quite have the braking. And look at Tommy Hill, he's past Michael Rutter, he's into 6th place. Shaky Byrne had his first victory here in 2003 on his way to the championship. He took both race wins here at Alton Park. So he's had a loving 10-year relationship with this circuit. And at the moment he's running there in 4th place. Here comes Tommy Hill. Oh, Tommy! Don't do what you did 2 years ago, man.
It looked like that was going to happen, didn't it?
Dear me, remember just when we came here for the final round with him leading the championship for the Crescent Suzuki team, he had a massive off there, and that ended his championship dreams for 2010.
He actually had 2 crashes that weekend in the same place.
Right here.
Yep, and he lost the front just at about that point.
He asked Ian Lowry to be fairly sensible there and just sit up and let him ease through, you know.
He was going through.
6th lap of 16. Number 2, Brooks leads. Number 34, Seeley. Number 10, Kirkham, chased by Shaky Byrne. And number 1, the reigning champion, Tommy Hill, now in 5th. Past the race. There's Norrie Haga. Norrie Haga sets the fastest lap of the race, 136.719. He's in 9th place, right behind the supersonic racing bike of Tommy Bridewell. There they are together, the black bike of Bridewell, the red and yellow number 41 of Norrie Haga.
Come on, Haga.
Good to see Norrie getting into the mix properly here. And as they swing through the shit.
That's a daisy. Hang on, he's got to get back on the track, he's got to come back.
Was that Lucas Scassa? It may have been Scassa who went straight on out of 11th place. Fabulous part of the track, up Bray Hill across the rhythm section, as I like to call it, because it's almost like a section of motocross whoops. The front five have just broken slightly clear here of Lowry in 6th place, who's got Rutter and Bridewell for company.
Did you say Bray Hill?
Oh, did I really?
You'd be Clay Hill with that. Bray Hill's quite a way away.
Indeed. You would have to swim to Clay
Just
Hill.
a spectacular though, we've got to say.
6 laps complete. Seeley just moves through ever so tidily on Josh Brooks. I didn't expect this from the wee wizard.
No. To be honest, we didn't know what he's capable of round here because he hasn't had a chance to show us really.
So the 32-year-old Ulsterman, Alistair Seeley, leads the way. Right behind him is Sydney's very own. Oh, for how long? And you know, he always chooses very courageous places to pass Josh Brooks. He doesn't take the simple option.
Such a brave move. There's a big sort of ripple going in there that just unsettles everything. Really is a brave place to pass there.
The Samsung Honda in 3rd place is John Kirkham. His teammate Michael Laverty has moved to 17th place. Stuart Easton to 19th from the back row of the grid.
And I tell you what, Shaky Byrne there in 4th on the number 67 Kawasaki. He knows that Tom Hill's behind him. He's pushing on now. Here he comes.
Kirkham, this is a track that he's enjoyed success in the past in both Superbike and Superstock, and he really can run with the best round here, can't he, in 3rd place? He looks really strong.
Yeah, and do you know what? It is a circuit that you've got to flow at, but it's also a circuit now with all the chicanes that you've got to be able to muscle that bike from one side to the other. That is an advantage. He's a big, strong lad, is John.
I wasn't sure. Norrie Haga is still there, isn't he?
Yeah. He's there. He's only one place.
Oh, he's moved
Lowry.
in. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
He's moved past Lowry, and
no,
he's moved past Rutter and Bridewell.
He's just
with
behind Lowry. He's got Lowry in between him and his teammate Tommy Hill.
So good to see Haga really getting on the game here as we complete 7 laps. Brooks, Seeley, Kirkham, Byrne, Hill, Lowry, Haga, Rutter, Bridewell, the top 9. Ahead of Chris Walker, Lucas Scasser and James Westman. Scasser, these guys who've never seen this place before. It's pretty impressive stuff.
This is impressive from Haga though. I mean, it's 8 years since he's been in. He didn't get a real good run at it last time. He's straight, lovely. Straight past Lowry. He got a real good drive out of Cascades, and by Ireland he's through.
Oh, and there goes Shaky Byrne, makes a strong move again on John Kirkham, moves through into 2nd place.
That'll stick now.
And suddenly, from looking like he'd swashbuckled his way to the front, Seeley has been demoted to 4th. Brooks is leading it. Byrne is 2nd. 3rd for Kirkham. 4th is Hill, just slipping through down the hill.
Yep.
Oh, wow, steady boys, and that was Rutter
look
over.
at Haga.
Oh, Norrie. That man has the most original overtaking manoeuvres in the world.
I can tell you, I've been a victim of them several times. You don't know where he's going to come.
Brilliant stuff. Great to see Norrie Haga properly on the pipe. And of course he's got Donington Park, his beloved Donington Park next weekend. Here, I beg your pardon, that's World Supers. I'm getting myself in the right muddle. Number 1, Tommy Hill, forces his way through into 3rd place. And having started from the 5th row of the grid, he and Haga really producing the goods here. Norrie, once again, vaults over the hill on a line nobody else would take.
Yeah, and you know what? He's moving around on the bike. He's moving. This is the move, Haga.
Oh, dear.
On Seeley, and you just wouldn't expect that.
Norrie Haga, who's produced certainly the best overtaking move I've ever seen in my life in World Superbikes on Colin Edwards at Hockenheim in 2000. He's still at it here in British Superbikes.
And you can tell when he's going well because he moves around on the bike and he just looks comfortable with the bike doing all sorts under him.
Shaky Byrne a bit wide in the Shell Oils hairpin in 2nd place. Josh Brooks leading the way. 136.753 for Brooks on the last lap. 136.84 for Shaky Byrne in 2nd.
Haga, the next quickest, on a 36.9.
Oh, Kirkham had a big moment then coming out of Britain's. It cost him drive up the hill. Surely Haga has a chance. He does.
Straight past.
He swoops past across the crest, and that was all down to almost a speed wobble that Kirkham suffered coming out of Britain's chicane.
A speed wobble? A death weave.
Neil Hodgson calls them speed wobble, so if an ex-world champion can, even I can. Oh, and I think Kirkham went down.
Who was it?
I thought it was Kirk. No.
There's a big crash there.
I think it was Kirkham who went down.
Crash.
Number 10, Kirkham. I think he went down over the top of Clay Hill.
If he has, that's a fast one.
There's number 1, Tommy Hill. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them through. There's no sign of Kirkham. And there's slight concern about one of our cameramen. Is everybody all right? Did the camera get wiped out? There's the concern over our cams right now.
If it happened at top of Clay, that's a quick crash.
And the red flag's gone out, I think. The red flag goes out. We're on the 10th lap. I'm pretty certain that was John Kirkham. We're on the 10th lap of 16. Have we reached 2/3? Anybody with good maths? Where's 2/3 distance of 16? We've got to be close to it.
11 or 12 laps.
We'd probably need 11 or 12 laps. Does that mean we have a separate rerun, James, after such a terrific, meaningless race then?
I think that's... well, it's not meaningless. It'll form the grid for the second part.
Heartbreaking. That was a bit of a heartbreaker when you've got weather like this so perfect and you're running at the front. But do you know, James, what was I saying about the kind of speed waves over the top of Clay Hill? I'm always simply gobsmacked at the speed at which these bikes drive over the top of there.
Do you know what?
Scary.
Last time I raced here, it would be 96 and we had possibly 150 brake horsepower. These things are 60 or 70, maybe 60 brake horse, more than that. And it was just about flat out then, and now it definitely isn't. So you can definitely go over there too quick now, where it didn't used to be a place where you worried about too much.
So it's Josh Brooks, Shaky Byrne, Tommy Hill, Norrie Hager, the top 4. Alistair Seeley, Ian Lowry, 5th and 6th. Tommy Bridewell, 7th. Michael Rutter, 8th. Chris Walker in 9th. Concern in the Samsung Honda car.
That's just John's dad, just behind the rider, the man on the left. And I can tell you that is a really quick part of the track. But what I can also tell you is there's lots and lots of rectocell and air fencing on that point. So just hope for the best.
Kirkham has been reinstated on the on our kind of red flag board here from the last completed lap in 4th place. But at the moment what we've got is the marshals, brilliant marshals that they are, attending to the damage. A beautiful afternoon here at Alton Park, and quite the reverse of the weather. Do you know what? Cheshire and the Wirral has its own macro climate. Never take any notice of what the weathermen are going to tell you, because we've had pretty beautiful weather all day.
You're not going to do a Carl Fogarty say that the weather in Blackburn or wherever you're from is always better than everywhere else.
No, I'm not. No, I'm absolutely not. But it does seem to me that we get away with rather a lot here. Michael Laverty there was just into the points in 15th place, having come through from absolutely row 8. Now that's some distance to have to come through on a track like this. But Adrian Ghost is immensely experienced crew chief there, discussing things with him.
That was thanks to Michael Laverty making a real mess of his qualifying at Brands.
Exactly.
That's what he really did. Made lots of mistakes.
So we knew, and of course he had a problem here in his qualifying 3, the final qualifying session. He found himself with a 12-month-old egg-shaped Pirelli rear tyre, and he had to come straight back in, get it changed. Just had enough time to squeeze in one lap before he went back out again. In the background there, you can see his lady, Jodie. That's Chaz Davis's sister, and Jodie never watches either Chaz or Michael race. She goes out to the back of the garage, she watches the timing on her mobile phone. I said, well, how does that differ? If he disappears off the timing screen, isn't that even scarier? But she says, no, I'd rather not watch the actual images in case something goes wrong. So right now then, we're waiting to find out. It was number 10 who was a faller at the water tower. That's John Kirkham. And we're waiting. Josh Brooks, of course, and Alistair Seeley. They were running in 1st and 6th places, respectively, for the Tyco Suzuki squad. There's Joe Seeley on the right. They're just bending down behind the bike. Alistair's dad, who's an ex-jockey. They're both very little fellas. Yep. And Philip Neal, the team owner and manager there, a former Grand Prix motocrosser 20 years back. So waiting to... Well, these guys, James, can they get everything now prepared for a completely fresh race?
Yeah, they can. I mean, you've got to do. The main thing is you keep kind of relaxed, think about how the bike was going. At this point, they won't be making any changes to the bike. Certainly they won't. Alistair won't. It was going fairly well. And he'll just be trying to keep his head in the right place and get some tyres on it, get some fuel in it, and wait to go.
And what they'll do then, they'll just put on a fresh set of tyres, refuel it, and then everything else will be just as was.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah. Unless they've got a real problem, which he obviously didn't.
We think John Kirkham was briefly unconscious. Here we go. Look
Bottom
at Kirkham there, just on the left of the picture now. There he goes down. So, wow, that is a quick one. John Kirkham. Now I can see why Cov was worried about the state of our cameraman, because look at that. Oh, I hope that I see what you mean, Cov. Thankfully, it seems the cameraman sensibly ran, but he kept on filming as the sofas tumbled over.
Yep.
That was a big crash.
It was, and that's a real fast part of the circuit, and you can just see from that graphically how good that rectocell and foam fencing is. Just that extra sort of 3 feet of slowing down.
And the report right now is that John Kirkham is conscious again, so we know that John had already had a moment here, look, in the Knickerbrook chicane there, bike number 10, throwing him out of his seat. So, but it was again, and that was the point. That was coming out of Britain's, and that allowed Norrie Hager to get a big drive on him up and over the hill.
Yep.
But it was a front end that went on him, it seemed to be, as he dropped through the dip.
Yeah, it was as the weight came. You'd almost float in the front end all the way up under the bridge, up Clay Hill, and then when the weight went back on and he tipped into the left before Druids, the front went. Unusual that. You'll see just back of the short watch. Not now.
He'll already be down at that point.
Yeah, he will.
And this is where we see, where was our cameraman then here? Who
just about to get hit.
Yeah, who gets the fabulous photographs. Whoa! And he's... Oh, did he...
I'll tell you what, he stood his ground manfully.
Well,
where is he? Oh, he's gone.
I think he's gone. I think he's just let... Look at the bike. Thank goodness there were no spectators right there. I think did the cameraman just evacuate then and leave the camera running?
He's left the camera with his coat hanging on it. Poor John.
That was a brilliant job. But so John Kirkham there, just relaxing under the attention of the paramedics. He'll get the best possible treatment trackside, and then hopefully be in reasonable shape when he emerges from this. So John Kirkham, the very likeable, tall Derbyshire boy who is a former National Superstock and R1 Yamaha Henderson Cup. Remember that? He won that as well.
His arms are definitely moving. He was giving somebody his gloves there. And one thing, I mean, I've been in that position, unfortunately, and I can tell you that the main thing is they don't want you moving. If you've got any kind of displaced fractures, they don't want anything to move on you, but they won't let you wave, do anything. They won't let you talk, especially move your back and your neck. So it looks like he's kind of immobile, but that's because they'll be stopping him from moving.
So Josh Brooks will be looking forward to it. We'll have a truncated race. It was meant to run 16 laps altogether. It ran 8 before the red flag verdict was put on our screen. So that means we may have an 8-lap dash to come. We've also, of course, got the Supersport sprint to come as well. And that will round out, hopefully, our live programme this afternoon. A quick restart. The pit lane will be opening as soon as possible. Part 2 will be an 8-lapper plus a sighting and warm-up lap. We've just gone 5 o'clock, so who knows, we might even get our mighty programme of Superbike racing today off air by around about 6 o'clock. There's a faint possibility. We've enjoyed playing this by the seat of our pants. So the 8-lap dash will be, they'll line up with Josh Brooks on pole position for Taiko Suzuki. Shaky Burns, Kawasaki second. Tommy Hill will be third on the grid. Fourth on the grid will be Norrie Hager. And then Alistair Seeley, Ian Lowry, Tommy Bridewell and Michael Rutter, and then Chris Walker, Lucas Scasser, James Westmoreland and Graham Gowland, the two youngsters on the WFR Hondas, will be on row 3 as well, ahead of Luke Quigley. The dry Midlander was having a good ride in that race on bike number 51, the GB Motor Racing Honda, those spectacular purple machines. He was just ahead of Michael Laverty in 15th place. But for the moment, let's go back to Tony Carter in pit lane.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. Yeah, as you can imagine, all sorts of things going down here in pit lane at the moment. We are just outside the Swan Yamaha garage. We'll have a chat with the guys in there in a couple of minutes' time. But before we do, let's bring in somebody we haven't seen at a racetrack for a little while. I'm delighted to say Carl Harris is here. Carl, good to see you. I don't want to start on the negative, but as one man who has headbutted a rather large portion of Alton Park in the past before, about 80, 90 miles an hour, it's a shame that the race has had to be stopped because of a crash. Obviously, as soon as we get any updates on John Kirkham's condition, we will fill you in on those as they come through to us. But Carl, let's talk about a positive now, because you've got some island racing in your future. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're looking at doing we are doing the Isle of Man TT this year with SMT Honda, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a different challenge for me and a new one, so really looking forward to it. Then hopefully after the TT, you never know, we might be back in BSB.
Talk about a challenge. You don't half pick them big, don't you? Going out on the Isle of Man. I mean, 37.73 miles. You're doing the mountain course. You ride over Snaefell. It is an unbelievable tough thing to ask a road rider to do. Why are you doing it?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I've wanted to do it for a couple of years, and SMT were looking at doing it with another rider, and that didn't end up coming off. And I just thought perfect opportunity, because I've had other teams for me and stuff, and it's not been quite right. And I want to do it with a proper team and good guys behind me. And now I've got the opportunity, so here we go.
You've ridden for SMT before with Robin Croft, looking after everything, and you like the bike, you like the team. I mean, it's going to be a fast bike, we know that.
Yeah, that's right, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was here with SMT when I had the little incident at Shell Hairpin. And
little incident. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but my goodness me, you just headbutted that arm coming at about 80 mile an hour, and then you had a fat lip, didn't you? And then you shrugged it off and sort of carried on.
A little bit more than that.
A bit more than that, yeah, but.
Yeah, I was off for a few weeks, and hello Robin if you're watching, which I know you are. And no, it's great, and hopefully we can get back in this paddock and just go and give the ball a good kick, you know.
It'd be nice to see you back in BSB. You're missing it clearly.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I want to be out there watching it now, and I'm like, phew, yeah, it's doing me head in. I don't like watching, but I mean, we was going to try and do the Supersport race this weekend. It's just going to be just too much of a rush, you know. And we want to do the job properly, and hopefully after the TT, try and do a good job there and work on with the BSB for after the TT, yeah.
The TT gets underway at the end of May and the beginning of June. What sort of preparation have you been doing for it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously I've been out there 5 or 6 times, once with Robin, and then obviously with Alec, my chief mechanic, and just doing laps with Milky Quail, Johnny Barton, and had a couple of laps with Connor, with Connor as well, so which are fantastic, and just learning it the best I can and watching DVDs at home, sitting in the gym watching them as well. So no, it's good, and really looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to seeing you back in BSB. Thanks for talking to us, Carl. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
There we go. Carl Harris from SMT Honda. Further down the pit lane, Mr. Whittam has been digging out some stories. Whit?
Very, very nice. Some old pictures from 70s.
Neil said, I shan't change a bit.
Hey up. We're outside of Paget's garage. We're with championship leader Ian Lowry. How good does that sound?
Yeah, sounds awesome, doesn't it? I just hope at the end of this weekend they'll be saying the same thing.
You got away with them. It looked a bit kind of frenetic. Lots of people going all over the place. It was just about settling down.
Yeah, it was starting to settle down there. Yeah, I was kind of overriding the bike too, but I was trying to make up for, I was where I felt comfortable. I was trying to override there to make up for where I was lacking a bit, and I just sort of was getting myself a bit out of rhythm. But hopefully, Clyde's made a few changes to the bike for the next, for this next quick restart. So.
It looked to me like you were quick mid-corner once you got into the corners, but it was actually going into the corner, especially on the downhills where it was kind of a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, I was just getting a bit unsettled there, and I was trying to push hard, and then I was losing a bit on the exit. But I think I'm going to adopt a different strategy for the next one.
We saw you fantastic, and really I was kind of proud to see you win down at Thruxton.
Yeah.
Nothing gave us more pleasure than that. We loved that. But you had the old set of levers, the badges taped up, the badges ripped off. Now look at you.
I know. I'm looking good now. Now I have to do it, don't I?
How many sets have you got?
Just the one for this weekend, but I think there's more coming next week. So.
Right, so another chance to get going again. What, you got new tyres on, a bit more fuel?
New tyres on, new fuel, a bit of setup change, and we're away.
Good luck.
Cheers, thanks.
Tony, take it away, mate.
Thank you very much, Whit. Yes, I am here with Jonathan Palmer at the end of pit lane. Well, a bit further down, but we're still outside Swan Yamaha. Jonathan, thanks for coming out to talk to us. First off, let's have a massive round of applause for Recticel barriers, because I think we've just seen a prime example of what benefits they bring to a racetrack.
Absolutely. It just shows you how effective those barriers are. I think Kirkham went in at probably, 60, 70 miles an hour, and you can see the energy of the bike going up and up in the air. But the fact that he was initially knocked out, we know that, but he's conscious again now, and we're not sure, but hopefully without any significant injuries. But it's extremely effective material. material. And of course, one of the things that we have to do, and MCRCB do, as the regulatory body for British Superbikes, is with the circuit inspector, identify those areas around the circuit that are going to need protection and the most deserving of it. That's an area coming on the right-hand side, coming into Druids, when it's very, very rare for anyone to lose it through there. I don't quite know what happened. I think John just dropped the front and just slipped wide there. He seemed to be struggling a bit before, didn't he, with grip. But it's an unusual place to go off, but nevertheless it was identified by our circuit inspectors as an area that would warrant some protection, because it is very close to the track, and it's of course very high speed, and it's certainly proved its worth.
Certainly has right now, and also a big hand needs to go out for the race safe marshals, once again doing a fantastic job cleaning up out there and sorting things out for us. Without the race safe marshals, I know you're very appreciative of their efforts, but without them we couldn't go racing.
Well, absolutely, and it has to be said, first of all, the race safe marshals are all controlled by Stuart Higgs, who's our BSB series director, who does a fantastic job. You know, he pretty much runs this show single-handed. I've been in race control, and having a handle on what's going on, watching what's going on, making quick decisions, getting those race safe marshals to come out quickly at the right time, and the guys do a superb job. The recovery vehicles, the vans are out there. It all happens incredibly quickly, and I think even Formula 1 would be proud of the response times that we have in BSB, and quite rightly so too. Clearly, rider safety is absolutely paramount for us.
But just behind us now, the Swan Yamahas are going out. Didn't they do well in the first part of that race, coming through from row 5, and they were battling up at the front. Tommy Hill on a real mission. Noriyuki Haga just a couple of places behind.
Actually, exactly. I spoke to Tommy Hill before, and it was probably a blessing for Tommy that the second race at Brands Hatch didn't happen, because it seems that he's certainly going a lot better here. The Yamaha is clearly very strong here around there, with Noriyuki Haga going well too. But that's great racing, isn't it? When you see somebody, clearly Tommy's a big star. The Sean Muir's team do a super job. The bike's quick, but to come up from the back of the grid to get there, and now he's on the front row. But what a front row we've got now, haven't we? I mean, it really is the creme de la creme.
It is unbelievable. We're talking about Josh Brooks, Shane Burns, Tommy Hill, Noriyuki Haga. There's some names there.
It is absolutely perfect, isn't it? And it really is great to see. And of course, all lined up the front row. Tommy looks strong, but who knows?
We're definitely looking forward to it. Thanks for talking to us. We'll speak to you later on.
Pleasure.
Jonathan Palmer there. Whit, yours.
Cheers, Tony. This fella here is Simon Green. Well, Simon worked with me for a couple of years at Suzuki and World Superbike.
I did.
Simon, your man at Swan Yamaha, he's Noriyuki Haga. Now starts from the front, going like a train there. What you done? Put a rocket up his bum or what?
First thing he said to me was thank you for the fast engine when he came in at the red flag. I think he's just found a racetrack that he's been to before. He's comfortable. He's happy with the setting. We've chipped away at it. And I think you're seeing the real Norrie Haga now.
I'm going to say, Norrie is the rider that if he looks like he's enjoying it and he's happy, he's always going to be quick.
Absolutely, and he's so relaxed. He sat in the grid there, and he smiled at me and he laughed. I thought, I think we're on for a result here. Hopefully, he'll get a good start again. Go with Tommy. Could be a bit tense in the garage with two riders running at the front, but yeah.
Notoriously picky on setup, is Norrie. Now, what has he been asking for this weekend?
Don't
say nothing now. You make me look stupid.
Lots of things. More rear support, more rear grip, bit more stability on the brakes. This is a bumpy, undulating circuit. It's difficult to get the bike settled, but we've just generally chipped away at it, and he's just gone faster and faster. A little bit more circuit knowledge. Nicky Brookshire came, wasn't he, when he last came in 8 years ago? So he's just the kind of guy who comes out Sunday morning or for the first race, and you see the real deal with him.
Who's built a fast engine?
Pete Jennings.
Oh, love that.
Me, but it wasn't. But yeah, so Peter, yeah, good lad.
Simon, good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Tony, take it away.
Thanks very much, Whit. We're here outside Taiko Suzuki, Taz Taiko Suzuki, with Philip Neal, the team boss. Now, listen, I just want to talk to you very quickly, because if you haven't got grey hair before this race, and you've got quite a bit, but you'll have a bit more after it, given the way that Alistair Seeley, one of your riders, known as the Wee Wizard, was barging Josh Brooks, another one of your riders, known as Bad Boy Brooks, out of the way.
Absolutely. It was good to see Alistair. He's obviously got his confidence back now, and he certainly woke Joyce up. Joyce was two corners later, Joyce was back through on him again. So it's, as long as it's good, clean racing. I mean, it's obviously a worry when you've got your two riders at the front. It's in a nice way. It's 2007 since we last endured that kind of stress with Ian Lowry and Michael Laverty at the front of the Supersport Championship. But they're both fairly sensible guys, and Alistair's more of a sprint man probably, and Joyce is more of an endurance man. So
you think this restart, 8 laps now, will favour Seeley over Brooks?
Well, it probably will, and I think he's pretty angry now. He got a couple of fairly aggressive passes made on him there in the space of 1 lap when he dropped a few positions. You've probably seen them on screen, and that's fired him up a little bit. So I think he's quite keen to get stuck in here.
On this grid for this restart, we have Josh Brooks on pole, and right behind him in fifth is Alistair Seeley. So one behind the other as they line up on the grid on the right-hand side. Will that have any effect?
Well, not really. I mean, it's going to be a really good race, this, obviously, because now we have Shaky and Tommy up in the front row, where their pace means they should have been anyway. Obviously, they were further back from their bad lap times at Brands Hatch, but this time they'll be on the front. So this will be at least a 5-way scrap for the lead.
Love it. Love talking to you. Thanks very much, Philip. We'll let you go. Philip Neal there, the team manager of Taz Taiko Suzuki. And the boys are heading on out now then for their warm-up lap for the restart of this British Superbike race here at Alton Park. Let's go to our commentators then once again. Back to James Whittam and Jack Bernicle.
Tommy Hill and Shaky Byrne, both former race winners here, as too is Stuart Easton, round this glorious 2.7 mile Alton Park circuit here in Cheshire, as they move past along Island Bend, past the lake, up towards the Shell Oils hairpin, and then they climb back from the dished hairpin up towards the Britain chicane. I'd love to see them go straight over the top of the hill, rather like they used to do, because that's what the British touring cars are actually allowed to do.
I've done that.
And I bet it was
lovely.
fun.
Flat out from the hairpin.
This will be the new starting grid for Alton Park's rerun 8-lap dash for the race 1 of the Alton Park weekend here. Josh Brooks on pole position, Shaky Byrne second, Tommy Hill third, Noriyuki Haga in fourth. Isn't that remarkable from row 5? Alistair Seeley, Ian Lowry, Tommy Bridewell and Michael Rutter on the second row. Chris Walker on the Primo Bournemouth Kawasaki. Luca Scassa, the fine Italian rider on his Paget's Racing Honda. James Westmoreland and Graham Gowland on the Team WFR Fireblades on row 3. And then an impressive Luke Quigley on the GB Moto Racing Fireblade ahead of Samsung Honda's Michael Laverty. Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki Stuart Easton, both from the 8th row of the grid, first time out. And Primo Bournemouth Kawasaki's James Hillier on row 4. And as they come through Deers Leap and form up on the grid, we've got 8 laps to go. Now the interesting thing here is that Philip Neal thinks that this sprint will favour the wee wizard Alistair Seeley of his 2 riders. I'm not too sure about that. I think Josh Brooks has the kind of instant explosive aggression, as indeed does that young man, Tommy Bridewell. Talk of the devil.
He looks well on that BM, I've got to say, he suits it.
Do you know, he is the most impressive BMW for the last minute get together that team was. He is the most impressive BMW on the grid here in British Superbikes. I mean, in talking full-out Superbikes. Look at those red and yellow Swan Yamahas. What a front row of pedigree that is. You've got Josh Brooks alongside Shaky Byrne, Tommy Hill and Norrie Haga.
I'm fancying Haga for a rostrum here.
Definitely. Lights out, Haga gets his head down and front wheel paws the air, but it's Shaky Byrne who may make it through first. No, Brooksy comes round from the outside, and it's pretty much the same order as which they left the grid, with Byrne second and the Swan Yamahas third and fourth. Did Norrie get through?
Yeah, definitely third.
Yep, you're right, Norrie Haga, with yet another of those absolutely blisteringly beautiful helmet designs, is into third place. Behind him, Tommy Hill, and then number 34, Alistair Seeley. Alongside, is that Michael Rutter has made a terrific start? I think it is.
He does.
I think Michael Rutter has got the MSS Batham's Kawasaki off the line well in 6th place.
Just watch how confident Noriyuki Haga is with the front of that Yamaha now. Pushing into the corners. You can see it kind of kicking back, but he's so happy with it now.
And he was saying that he still needed a little improvement in the suspension for the lace before he got going. That was after qualifying, of course. But James, as you have almost always been amazed by, he runs it very, very front heavy compared to most other riders.
I've ridden his bikes a couple of times, not this model of R1, but I tell you what, the bike's on its nose. How he has the the thing is with Norrie Haga, he doesn't know you can't overtake there. We all do, we've been here loads of times.
But he'll assume that anywhere is a possibility. Oh, and the way he can drive off an early apex.
Exactly. That was an early apex and bang on the power. Here he comes. And how easy does he go past?
And he made that happen from coming through Druids.
So much confidence on, and that's what he did. He set that up from Druids. Just that millisecond early on the power. He didn't lose the back. He got it going, and that got him up the inside into Lodge. Lovely.
Norrie Haga has, I've lost count of the number of World Superbike races that he's won, but he's never won in BSB. Well, right now, he's hanging on to the back fender of number 2, Josh Brooks. This is an exhilarating 8-lap dash we've got in prospect. Oh, Norrie nearly unloads it. That cost him big time. Shaky Byrne tries to get alongside, and here comes Tommy Hill dashing up the inside of Shaky Byrne's Kawasaki.
No, we've seen Brooks overtake there, but that's such a difficult corner to actually make a pass stick.
And as they keel through the Shell Oils hairpin, and we've got Alistair Seeley and Michael Rudder trying to hang on to this tearaway quartet.
Shane Byrne got a lot of chatter going into Shell Oils hairpin there. This is Norrie. This is at Druids. Watch, he gets up the inside, gets it turned early, there, gets the throttle open, and that takes him all the way down a little bit of a straight into Lodge. That gives him the kind of impetus to get on the brakes and get past Shane Byrne.
What an extraordinary move by Norrie Haga. And here they are now, coming up Clay Hill once again and again. Haga always looking for that alternative line, looking for the options when he's behind somebody. Josh Brooks, of course, fearfully determined competitor. He's going for it again.
He's done it again.
Josh got good drive as well.
Wide entry into Druids, and that gives him just the ability to get on the pan. He's got halfway past before he even hits the brakes.
Oh, and Tommy Hill sits up Shaky Byrne ruthlessly as they go through Lodge Corner into Deersley.
A scything manoeuvre there by Tommy Hill.
This is just pucker racing.
And do you know when your bike wheelies there just before Old Hall, you've got to almost have the brakes on. The second the front wheel touches the floor, you've got to have the brakes on. That is so difficult to balance.
Do you get Alex Polita's point when he shrugged his shoulders and said to me, it's quite tough, this championship?
Oh, it's a tough championship. The depth of field's unreal when you've got people like these in. Look, that was such a good pass and set up from 2 corners before.
So it's now Haga, Brooks, Hill, Byrne, Seeley, Rutter. Bridewell is right up on the pace with these guys. Walker is in 8th place. He too is right in there. There's Chris Walker on the distinctive red, white and green Kawasaki.
Tommy Hill.
Oh,
that's a block pass.
Thomas.
That's a block pass. And it's worked.
Oof, that was
brilliant.
A serious piece of movement by Tommy Hill. Now he's after his teammate. This could get very spicy.
He's not having his teammate beating him, is he? He's not having that.
41 leads 1, leads 2, leads 67. They're the front 4. And that dramatic flick through the chicane at Knickerbrook.
You can feel the grey hairs just squeezing out of Sean Muir's head, can't you?
Yes, he's turning grey even faster than Charlie Hiscott, isn't he? It's quite spectacular to watch. Meeting in, meeting out. And look at the Kawasaki's there. This is Chris Walker, who's he's broken his kneecap there at Druids once before, but it doesn't seem to put him off, and he's enjoying this place.
Do you know what? Norrie Haga is so good out of a corner that I don't think that's going to allow anybody to get on the back of him to allow him to go up the inside into the corners. Although, having said that, no.
Never discount Tommy Hill. Oh, Tommy just went in awfully deep into Old Hall. He had to really pull it back to a late apex as they dive down the avenue that used to be tree-lined, of course, back in the day when they first raced here at Oulton Park. And there's a fastest lap. Tommy Hill, 36.28. And he's right on the back way. Oh, and he's got the drive out of Cascades.
He tried that on Shane Byrne a couple of laps previous, and it didn't work on him either.
Back over, swinging into the Shell Oils hairpin here. Shaky Byrne pushed back to 4th, Seeley running with them, and the 2 Kawasaki's there with Michael Rudder just fending off Chris Walker. Brilliant ride by the 40-year-old Chris Walker there, right behind the whippersnapper 39-year-old Michael Rudder, and just in front of them, Tommy Bridewell. Bridewell is the first BMW in British Superbikes to really run at the front as they brake hard down the hill into the Knickerbrook chicane, but not late enough. Tommy Hill still second.
Norrie's so quick out of that Knickerbrook chicane and up Clay Hill.
Tommy's looking for always past, and Norrie will have to be quick along here because Tommy can produce the pass going towards Deersley. And again, getting that drive.
I don't know, you see, Tommy needs to get out of Druids quicker to get in a position to get past his teammate Haga into Lodge, and he can't do that.
Norrie seems to be completely unfazed by the fact that there's almost a nasty little hole as you hit that early apex at Druids.
There is, but that gives him a lot straighter and able to get more power on over the big undulation coming out of Druids.
Norrie, look at how spectacular the samurai of sliders.
That's Lowry.
Championship leader Tommy Hill looking again at Ireland. He's going to force his teammate up. No, he didn't. Wow. And Josh Brooks is right back on the case here. Brooks, remember, will become the title leader here because he is just 4 points behind Ian Lowry in the championship table.
We've got 3 laps to go. Yeah, anything can happen.
And here we have a big moment for Tommy Hill that gives an advantage surely to Josh Brooks. Tommy Hill extending that right knee as far as possible to try and put Josh Brooks out of any overtaking manoeuvre as Norrie Haga still leads the way on bike number 41, and that's given him a little bit of breathing space.
It does, and this is why. Watch Tommy Hill, second bike, the yellow bike in shot there. Watch, there you go. Has to close the throttle, controlled it quite well. It wasn't a near crash, but it cost him time all the way down the next straight.
So Norrie Haga, 3 times runner-up in the World Superbike Championship, bike number 41, Swan Yamaha, backing imperiously into Lodge Corner, and Shaky Byrne suffering at the hands of Alistair Seeley. The pint-sized Ulsterman just slipped through on that blue and white. And Bridewell's coming round on the BMW. Oh, Tommy Bridewell on the black BMW is all over Shaky Byrne's Kawasaki.
He would have had a go at him there, except Shane Byrne just didn't leave him any room. Here's the front 3.
There's the front 3, there's the next 3 with Chris Walker has passed Michael Rutter. He's now 7th. Look at this, once again Tommy Hill. Oh, surely he's made it this time.
He's got it now. Can he stop it though? Is he going to run wide? No, he's got it, I think.
Oh, remarkable aggression from Tommy Hill.
Look at Norrie. Runs it wide, going in. He'll cut him back to a second apex. That might just give him a bit of a drive now. And he has got the drive, but he's not close enough.
So Swan Yamaha, it's a 1-2 at the moment. We've got Josh Brooks right in there behind them, the Australian from the suburbs of Sydney.
And you know what? All the front 3 men love a scrap. This is going in towards Ireland. It's really fast. There's a big bump going in just there, look. You're going to wait till the weight settles on your front end, then you can brake, and it's just a difficult place to pass and a frightening place to pass.
And now as they go up, and Tommy's just managed to put a little air between himself and Norrie. Norrie's going to have to get some extra special drive through Druids to deal with that. But he strong on the brakes as ever. Watch this early apex. Will he pull it off again? Yes, he does, to get that early drive. But he certainly lost a little bit of ground to the reigning champion. Look at Tommy Bridewell. What a ride for the Supersonic BMW team. And Walker on the naturally coloured Kawasaki, the green, white and red one, is right behind that disguised ZX-10 of Shaky Byrne.
Cracking right for Walker, this.
It is. And he sent it to you on the grid. I always enjoy me racing. I always enjoy it, especially when I'm overtaking people. He moves 6th ahead of Shaky Byrne, with Michael Laverty just behind them, having come through from 15th place. Michael Laverty now 8th on that blue and white number 7 at the Honda, ahead of Michael Rutter and James Westmoreland.
Somebody wants to tell Chris Walker he's too old for all this silliness.
The oldest man on the racetrack, and look at this, Shaky Byrne is really suffering, James. He's got battered back now behind Michael Laverty, and he's under threat from Michael Rutter.
What about the front? I want to see if Brooks is able to get on the back of Hagen. He can. That's Tommy Hill leading it, Swan Yamaha.
Look, Tommy Hill last lap, 136.263, fastest lap of the race. He's leaving this into a battle for second place. We're on the 7th lap of 8.
Yep. That's the second place man, Hager, been pursued by Brooks.
And Josh Brooks, well, when you said these are three very spectacularly determined men, you're so right. Look at the contrast in style. The little compact figure of Norrie Haga.
And you know what? I've followed the man, and he's so economical with his style. He doesn't move around on the bike so much, sticks his knees out, gets his head down, but his actually backside doesn't move so much, you know? You're right. Economical.
Yeah, you're right. He's almost like McGuinness-like in the way that he doesn't shift around that much on the bike.
And I followed him at Brands. I was on a Suzuki, and he was on a Yamaha. I tell you what, it's an economical style. When he's going quick, he's so relaxed, he looks like he could do it all day, every day, lap after lap.
Crossing the line into the final lap, Tommy Hill, Norrie Haga, Josh Brooks lead the way. Alistair Seeley 4th, Bridewell a brilliant 5th. Chris Walker just losing out to Michael Laverty, and Rutter goes through inside and ailing Shaky Byrne into 8th place. Easton is now 10th, Westmoreland 11th, Patrick Muth is 12th.
Watch out for Brooks in third there, number 2, the blue bike, the blue Suzuki. Has Haga got enough? Might have just enough. No, Brooks is right on him now.
And Brooks will be looking to pull off one of his trademark passes during this final lap. Norrie's going to have to get all the drive that he possibly can, but he does, James. As you say, picks up that bike length or two.
Gets it squared off, gets the throttle up, that fraction of a second early, and gets the bike going. You can't do that when the bike's on its side. It's his line into the corners that allows him to do that.
I'll tell you what, he may have told me that he can't really remember Alton Park from about 8 years ago, but you wouldn't have guessed it from this performance.
No.
Tommy Hill leads the way. Haga second, Brooks third. There's lots of infighting going on just behind here. And Shaky Burns really getting battered about. He's struggling now. He's got his teammate Stuart Easton right behind him.
This is the battle.
This is the battle for the rostrum places. Norrie Haga needs that second place. At the moment he has it. He gets the drive out of Druids. Is it all going to happen when we get to Lodge Corner? Norrie needs to protect his line, surely. Oh,
so good on the brakes, though. So good on the brakes.
And through Deersleep, it's going to be victory once again at Alton Park for Tommy Hill. So, yes, he speed wobbles as hard as his head wags with joy. He crosses the line ahead of Norrie Haga, Josh Brooks, Seeley, Bridewell, Michael Laverty 6th, Walker 7th, Rutter, Easton, Westmoreland, Shaky Burn 11th. Will only get 5 points in the end, ahead of a fine ride by the Swiss rider Patrick Muth. But for those guys, Sean Muir and his gang, that's a pretty great result. A 1-2 for Swan Yamaha, the team based in Gisborough, the ancient capital of Cleveland in North Yorkshire. And they've done it. And of course, don't forget, the North Yorkshire Road Racing Supporters Club has them as guests in Northallerton at one of their great nights. Norrie Haga will be on stage next Tuesday night along with the crew. So go and enjoy them in Northallerton next Tuesday night. Fastest lap for Tommy Hill, 135.842 on his penultimate lap. That was, once again, he's still the only guy who's nudged into the 135s.
That was a cracking race, that
was superb.
Yep.
I tell you what, I didn't honestly think that Tommy could do that, he could find a way from that distance back past Norrie.
Circumstances played into his hands a little bit from the 5th row. He got the restart, which moved him onto the front row. But yeah, a little bit of luck, but what a ride from Tommy Hill.
Remember, he'd gone from...
Exactly. He'd gone
to 9th at the end of the first lap originally, so he was obviously capable of making immense progress.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good to see Norrie Haga finally racking up some proper points, James, because he was lagging on 3 points before that, 35 points off the leader. There's Sean Muir and Gary Eckerold being congratulated by Philip Neal. There's an example of the spirit in the British Superbike pit lane.
So would you put Haga, would you have Haga down for a couple of rostrums tomorrow? Because I wouldn't rule that out. And listen to what I said before the season starts. If Haga can get into the top 6 for the last 3 rounds, the showdown, there's no betting against him. Might just have a shot at this championship.
And he's proved here at Alton Park that he can get himself into that top 6. Thanks, James. Signs himself off with a flourish as if to say, share that amongst you. Tommy Hill, Norrie Haga, 1st and 2nd for Swan Yamaha. Josh Brooks and Alistair Seeley, 3rd and 4th for Taiko Suzuki. No wonder those two team bosses were looking so happy. Tommy Bridewell, brilliant for Supersonic Racing Team BMW, ahead of Michael Laverty, Samsung Honda. Chris Walker, Primo Bournemouth Kawasaki, leads his companion in the Elder Statesman Stakes, Michael Rutter. Stuart Easton makes it through to 9th. James Westmoreland rounds out the top 10 for Team WFR Honda, ahead of Shaky Burn, who slipped back to 11th. He will need to get a shave tomorrow morning. Patrick Muth 12th. Lucas Scasser for Padgett's finishes 13th, ahead of Luke Quigley, GB Motor Racing. Good ride from the former Superstock star. Dan Linfoot gets the final point for Build-Based BMW, ahead of Peter Hickman, Tristan Palmer, Barry Burrell, Scott Smart and John Laverty. So the championship looks rather like this. We've had 4 races of 26. Tommy Hill has snook into the lead by 2 points ahead of Josh Brooks. Ian Lowry is marooned unfairly on 49 in 3rd place, still low, ahead of John Kirkham, who's level now with Shaky Burn. Alistair Seeley is 6th, ahead of Stuart Easton. Norrie Haga moves into 8th place, a point ahead of James Westmoreland. Tommy Bridewell 10th. 11th place for Michael Rutter ahead of Michael Laverty. Lucas Scasser 13th ahead of Gary Mason. Chris Walker moves into 15th place ahead of Dan Linfoot, Graham Gowland, Lowe's, Foray and Polita.
Right, we are here in Park Fermé. That's just congratulations, Gary Eckerall, team manager. Very well done. Tommy Hill from 5th row. Okay, we had the restart in there, but did you honestly think that you could win this one?
I went into that race just with an open heart. You know, I knew it was going to be a bit tough. It's a long race around here, so I knew the package was working well. So the team done a good job. You know, the bikes were pretty good in areas where we were working better than other riders, and paid off. Yes, all credit to Swan Yamaha and myself. It was a fantastic race. You know, I'm just like. Probably one of the best of my career. I mean, yeah, everyone still talks about the last race last year at Brands, but like to come from 15th, another race got stopped. But I mean, hats off to Norrie as well. I think everyone was just pushing and they wanted it hard. And I suppose, you know, at the end they wanted it harder. Pushed and pushed and pushed, and the package was working well. And
incredible pace that you found on the last lap there. When you crossed the line, it looked like you dropped the hammer. Was that the case, or did the other guys just drop off slightly? Were you really pushing on that last lap?
Yeah, I just, like, in some areas I know I could go a bit quicker, but you can't if someone's in front, so you have to just ride to their lines. But I wanted it, yeah, definitely wanted it, and saw my crew chief hanging over the wall shouting at me, so it's his fault.
Quite good.
Yeah, no, really, really happy. So big thanks to Swan Yamaha and everyone else. It was a good result for us. We just got to do it 2 more times tomorrow, so fantastic. Cheers. Thank you.
I would agree, Tommy. I think that was the best ride we've seen from you yet. Very well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
There we go, Tommy Hill, our race winner. Let's try and squeeze through with this big mic pack on. It's not easy. And come through to our second place finisher. We'll go to our third place finisher first, Josh Brooks. Josh, going into those last couple of laps, you were trying some really good, strong moves on Norrie Haga. They didn't quite come off. How hard were you pushing? I mean, you're obviously giving 100%, but how much did you have left in the tyres at the end?
Well, it's not just the tyres. In a short distance race like that, there's no strategy. You know, you just got to give it everything. And that's what I was doing, essentially trying my hardest. And I wasn't trying to conserve tyres or do anything like that. I was just giving it as much power as I could. And we're getting quite a lot of spins because we're probably getting a bit aggressive on the tyre, but and a bit aggressive on the power. But you know, Norrie and Tommy both did a better job, obviously, because. I mean, I could see maybe if the race was longer, it might have been areas, but it wasn't. It was only the race it was. So I tried everything I could, but it wasn't enough. So, but happy enough. Third, another podium. It's good.
Absolutely, more points for the top 6 showdown. We look forward to seeing you in that. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Third place finisher, Josh Brooks, and now our second place finisher, Noriyuki Haga. Wow, Norrie, at Druid, your line was superb, wide and then tight and lots of drive. Did you enjoy the race?
Did you enjoy that?
Did you enjoy the race?
Did you enjoy that?
Did I enjoy that? I thought it was fantastic. Great to see you. Did you?
Okay. Yeah, I was fantastic. I'm fantastic this result, but you know, I prefer first part of first race was better feeling on the bike, but for me nothing changed to part 2 race. But yeah, I was reading a few laps, and yeah, I was enjoy that.
Were you surprised at Tommy's pace at the end?
Yeah, Tommy was very fast, and when he passed me, I cannot catch up. I mean, I cannot hold him. For sure, I must change something for tomorrow. But weather is raining, you know, I think. But so I'm really happy. So
we're very happy to see Noriyuki Haga on the podium. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done.
Yeah, welcome back to planet of Noriyuki Haga.
Brilliant. Well, there we go. We're back on the planet of Noriyuki Haga. We're going to take a look at the highlights. Jack will take us through it.
The sun shone here at Alton Park in time for us to enjoy a bit of MCE Insurance British Superbike race action. Race 1 pouring into Old Hall Corner, and initially everything looked all right until we had a couple of falls, including this one that befell John Kirkham. Thankfully, he's just concussed. He won't be able to race tomorrow, but otherwise unharmed. So without the Samsung Honda on the start line, they took off once again, with Josh Brooks coming off pole position against the Kawasaki of Shane Byrne and the 2 red and yellow Yamahas, the Swan Yamahas of Norrie Haga and Tommy Hill. The Australian led the way, but look at the drive out of Druids for number 41, Norrie Haga. Spectacular action that allowed him to outbrake the former champion into Deers Leap. He now ran in second place, and then he did exactly the same to the Australian just as Tommy Hill snooked past into third place. All happening then at Lodge Corner. And then look at this move by Tommy Hill on Josh Brooks. A remarkable move into Britain's. That meant we had a Swan Yamaha 1-2 and Brooks number 2 had it all to do. And Tommy Hill decided after having won, well, he had a failed attempt going through Island Bend to take his teammate. That was on lap 6. He had a couple of more laps to sort it out as they ran into Shell Oil's hairpin. Shaky Byrne coming under some fire now. Tommy tried again on lap 7 and abracadabra, it worked this time. He forced his way through to the front. So Hill now had the advantage over teammate Nori Haga. But Josh Brooks on the blue and white Taiko Suzuki was right with them, but it was the head-shaking delirium of Tommy Hill crossing the line to win at Oulton Park. Second Haga, third for Brooks, fourth Alistair Seeley, just in front of Tommy Bridewell, and absolutely an exalted thrill of satisfaction for Sean Muir and his gang at Swan Yamaha.
Well, there we go then. The guys are up for the podium. After so many red flags today, we have to now move on at a pace. We're going for a short break, but when we come back, we're back with Supersport action. The guys are out on the grid. Jack Kennedy is in pole. We'll see you with all that in just a couple of minutes. Well, welcome back to Oulton Park. We must push on because it is now time for the Motorpoint British Supersport Championship race protected by data tag. So let's go straight on with the action and hand over to our commentators James Hayden and Jack Bernicle.
The British Supersport sprint race then. Look at the standings after 4 of 24 races. Just half a point in it at the top between Jack Kennedy and Sam Warren. Ben Wilson in third place. Glenn Richards fourth. Fifth, Billy McConnell, only 15.5 points off the lead ahead of Christian Idden. And this is how the grid looks, with Jack Kennedy on pole position impressively by a clear half second over Glenn Richards, Sam Warren and Luke Mossey. Second row, Ben Wilson's Gearlink Kawasaki ahead of Christian Idden, Billy McConnell and Richard Cooper. Third row, Glenn Irwin is ahead of Pauli Peckin and Luke Stapleford and Jimmy Hill. Luke Jones rounds up row 4 ahead of Kev Coghlan, Sam Hornsey and Taylor McKenzie. So all ready to go then with British Supersport, the Motorpoint British Supersport Championship. This is Saturday dash time, and off pole position on the Martrain Yamaha. You would expect a good start from Jack Kennedy, but he just gets out muscled into the first turn, and I think Ben Wilson crept underneath there. Glenn Richards, the old Australian dog himself, got himself through at the front, I think he did, but straight away Kennedy responds and nicks back second place off Ben Wilson, the tigerish Lincolnshireman.
Yeah, he does. Glenn Richards on the triumph there, coming through. Great start from him, but Kennedy already the man who's half a second clear at the front. Great drive out, and he's ahead into Ireland.
So Jack Kennedy then forces through to the front. Richards is second already. Sam Warren, Derbyshireman, former Supermoto star, has burst through into third place. Fourth place now for Ben Wilson, and already coming under a bit of pressure as they pour through into Britain's chicane. But Jack Kennedy has been so fast round here. Could it just be that the young Dubliner is going to take off with this one?
Well, he's leading the championship, and he was in a real flow in practice. You know, to be half a second clear in this class, you know, he's unbelievable lap time, and he's done exactly as he wanted to do. Someone very wide there at the chicane. He's got out in front, and he's already pushing that pace. Someone's down as well in the back of the picture.
Trying to hurtling off to rescue
number
the bike.
56, that's James East.
So James East has dropped his, oh what a shame, James East all the way from East Anglia, but still he's got another bite at the cherry tomorrow hopefully. And look at the confidence of Kennedy. Yes. Here comes Sam Warren, number 70, just looking for a way underneath, creeps his way through underneath the triumph of Glenn Richards. So number 70, Sam Warren from Swanwick on the Seaton Tuning Yamaha R6 makes it to Yamaha 1-2, and after one lap Kennedy, Warren, Richards, Wilson. Wilson makes a move on Glenn Richards. Glenn opens the barn door into Old Hall Corner, and through slips the green Kawasaki.
Yeah, you can see Ben Wilson building that up out of Old Hall. He had a really good drive, loses the foot off the footrest there, but Ben Wilson, the man on the move as well. But Sam Warren, I think, is the man to watch on the Seaton Yamaha, the red bike there, number 70 in second. He's riding really well this season, second in the championship, just half a...
Well, welcome back to Alton Park. We must push on because it is now time for the Motorpoint British Supersport Championship race protected by data tag. So let's go straight on with the action and hand over to our commentators James Hayden and Jack Bernicle.
The British Supersport sprint race then. Look at the standings after 4 of 24 races. Just half a point in it at the top between Jack Kennedy and Sam Warren. Ben Wilson in third place. Glenn Richards fourth. Fifth, Billy McConnell, only 15.5 points off the lead ahead of Christian Idden. And this is how the grid looks, with Jack Kennedy on pole position impressively by a clear half second over Glenn Richards, Sam Warren and Luke Mossey. Second row, Ben Wilson's Gearlink Kawasaki ahead of Christian Idden, Billy McConnell and Richard Cooper. Third row, Glenn Irwin is ahead of Pauli Peckin and Luke Stapleford and Jimmy Hill. Luke Jones rounds up row 4 ahead of Kev Coghlan, Sam Hornsey and Taylor McKenzie. So all ready to go then with British Supersport, the Motorpoint British Supersport Championship. This is Saturday dash time, and off pole position on the Martrain Yamaha. You would expect a good start from Jack Kennedy, but he just gets out muscled into the first turn, and I think Ben Wilson crept underneath there. Glenn Richards, the old Australian dog himself, got himself through at the front. I think he did, but straight away Kennedy responds and nicks back second place off Ben Wilson, the tigerish Lincolnshireman.
Yeah, he does. Glenn Richards on the triumph there, coming through. Great start from him, but Kennedy already the man who's half a second clear at the front. Great drive out, and he's ahead into Ireland.
So Jack Kennedy then forces through to the front. Richards is second already. Sam Warren, Derbyshireman, former Supermoto star, has burst through into third place. Fourth place now for Ben Wilson, and already coming under a bit of pressure as they pour through into Britain's chicane. But Jack Kennedy has been so fast round here. Could it just be that the young Dubliner is going to take off with this one?
Well, he's leading the championship, and he was in a real flow in practice. You know, to be half a second clear in this class, you know, it's unbelievable lap time, and he's done exactly as he wanted to do. Someone very wide there at the chicane. He's got out in front, and he's already pushing that pace. Someone's down as well in the back of the picture.
Trying to hurtling off to rescue
number
the bike.
56, that's Sir James East.
So James East has dropped his... Oh, what a shame. James East all the way from East Anglia, but still he's got another bite at the cherry tomorrow, hopefully. And look at the confidence of Kennedy. Yes. Here comes Sam Warren, number 70, just looking for a way underneath. Creeps his way through underneath the triumph of Glenn Richards. So number 70, Sam Warren from Swanwick on the Seaton Tuning Yamaha R6 makes it to Yamaha 1-2. And after one lap, Kennedy, Warren, Richards, Wilson. Oh, Wilson makes a move on Glenn Richards. Glenn opens the barn door into Old Hall Corner, and through slips the green Kawasaki.
Yeah, you can see Ben Wilson building that up out of Old Hall. He had a really good drive, loses a foot off the footrest there, but Ben Wilson, a man on the move as well. But Sam Warren, I think, is the man to watch on the Seaton Yamaha, the red bike there, number 70 in second. He's riding really well this season, second in the championship, just half a point behind the leader. So he's going to be all up to try and close that gap, and already he has. It's going to be a quick lap. Ben Wilson a little bit wide there, truly.
Wilson, right. I mean, when you think he's hanging off as far as he can, he hangs a little further. So we've got Kennedy, Warren, Richard, Wilson, Richards, Cooper in fifth. McConnell is sixth. Seventh, Christian Idden. Eighth is Glenn Irwin, number 2, who's returned to the CN Racing Yamaha, still backed by Met Healthcare and Megastore 247, but the Ulsterman going back to the team he knew at the end of last year.
Yeah, Irwin, the first Cup rider as well. Luke Jones' dad said, you never say which one of the Cup riders, so Irwin, he's 8th, and Luke Jones is 11th. The first 2 Cup riders, the only 2 Cup riders in the top 20.
And between them, Jimmy Hill and Luke Mossey, which means about 15 triumphs in the top 10, I reckon. There seems to be a stack of triumphs in there. Half the top 10 are riding on the 675 triples. Look at number 47, Richard Cooper. He slipped through into a challenging position just astern of Ben Wilson.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I think it's going to be quite a quick lap from Sam Warren as well. We'll take a look at it. 38.5, quickest lap of the race. And you can see it just closed that gap. It's down to 0.3 at the front there. So remember, those 2 guys separated by half a point the front of the championship. And you can see Sam Warren's intent. Both these guys right at the top of their game. Ben Wilson 3rd, Cooper 4th, Richards 5th. McConnell 6th as well.
So at the front, Kennedy leads it, Warren second, Ben Wilson third, fourth for Richard Cooper, the tiny former reigning National Superstock 1000 champion.
So it's a Yamaha 1-2 at the moment, Kawasaki third, Triumph fourth. Oh, and then loads of Triumphs.
Really impressed with the sheer speed of Sam Warren in second place. I thought Kennedy was taking off with this. And Warren, who until this year, James, was primarily a kind of slightly dodgy weather specialist. He's turned into an all-rounder who can deal with completely dry conditions like this as clinically as this.
Yeah, and he looks good. You know, he's definitely going to make a move. Remember that Kennedy just had that little gap. I think Kennedy can respond though. I don't think these guys are going anywhere, and never forget that man on the Kawasaki, Ben Wilson. All action type rider, and you know, he's not shaking him off. In fact, he just looks like he's bridged that gap slightly from Cooper.
Richard Cooper on the Oxford Tag Triumph, ahead of the former Supersport champion Glenn Richards on the Smiths Gloucester Racing Triumph. And of course his team is actually wildcarding next weekend at Donington Park in the World Supersport Championship, which is relatively bereft of triumphs at the moment. There's only one two-man triumph team in that championship right now, so they'll double the numbers.
And I'll tell you what, they're a great bike anyway, but there'll be a beautiful thing around there. It will be a track that will really suit them. The guys know the track, they're all local, they all live local now, and yeah, that'll be a very strong race for them. I look forward to watching them there. We'll be there, won't we, Jack?
We certainly will, and Kennedy responded on that lap. Only a tenth of a second separated the two on that lap. So the blue Martrain Yamaha ahead of the red Seaton Tuning Yamaha at the front. Kennedy from Dublin leads the Derbyshireman for Seaton Tuning. That's Sam Warren. Ben Wilson, Lincolnshireman, and the bright green Gearlink Kawasaki is third. Richard Cooper right behind him, Nottinghamshireman riding for the Oxford Tag Triumph team. They're the top four who've kind of broken clear on this. Well, it certainly is a sprint. It's a 10-lapper. We're looking now at number 21, Christian Idden, challenging number 3, Billy McConnell. Idden, of course, another former Supermoto star, that sort of discipline that involves doing some off-road riding in the midst of a road racing lap, so they're kind of motocross-derived motorcycles. Both Warren and Idden, former World Championship contenders in that discipline. Which is why they aren't quite as young as you might expect them to be, but still fairly fresh to road racing, James.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, it does take a little bit of adapting. I mean, both those guys are, you know, riding well. I mean, Sam Warren especially, he really has just moved up a level this year in maturity, in the way he rides the bike. He's going to make a move. Oh, Kennedy's blocked it. No, he still is. He still is.
He's still there. When Sam, known as Sideways Sam, just slips his way through then as they go through Lodge Corner, drop down Deers Leap, across the crest, across the start and finish straight. 4 laps complete out of 10. A new leader. Warren leads it by 0.111 of a second ahead of Kennedy, Wilson, Cooper, Richards 5th, McConnell 6th, Idden 7th, Glenn Irwin leading the Supersport Cup in 8th ahead of Luke Mossey and Pauli Pekkanen.
And this top 4 covered by less than a second there, so it's exactly a second for that top 4, so they're really closing up, but stretch to the front. It'll be interesting to see what Sam Warren can do now. Let's have a little look. That is where you can see 0.1 of a second, 0.6 back to Ben Wilson. Can Sam Warren, he'll try and break him on this lap. It's always the thing to do. You get out in front and you just try and put your best possible lap in. See if you can just, you know, psychologically break the guy behind you.
And Sam Warren, who's had a lot of faith shown in him, of course, by Phil Seaton, who was a former racer himself in the MRO Supersport 600 Championship. And the Seaton Tuning Yamahas have never lacked a little bit of horsepower, and here he is running at the front ahead of Kennedy, Wilson and Cooper as the sun comes bleakly but welcomingly out here towards the end of what has been an eventful afternoon at Alton Park.
I'll tell you what, Zach, it looked like they were just spreading the pack. Remember, it's only a 10-lap race.
Oh, and that was a huge moment for Jack Kennedy. Lost the inside foot peg as he came out of the right-hander there up to Clay Hill, James, and that really cost him some time up the hill.
Yeah, I mean, it did. There's Glenn Richards there. Glenn Richards, remember that win that he'd had a few years ago? He was the champion in his class. On the last corner, he was fantastic.
And yes, because he made an outside pass on Hudson Kenner coming into this turn here at Lodge Corner. A brilliant move, but at the moment he's not quite able to. There is number 2, Glenn Irwin, running ahead of Luke Mossey. So an impressive ride by Irwin, leading the British Supersport Cup on bike number 2.
It is, and there he is there, and that's definitely worth saying. It's a fantastic ride from him. You know, he's just 6 seconds off the lead there. So
he was of course the runner-up in the Superstock 600 Championship last year to his fellow Ulsterman Keith Farmer, who's in action tomorrow, of course, on our live show in the Superstock 1000 race.
There is nothing between the two at the front there. Warren and Kennedy, both on Yamahas. 0.1 of a second. Is Kennedy having a look? Not yet, but you know this battle's going further on. Slightly wide by Warren. He's going to come back for the second apex there. And then look at Ben Wilson, always lurking.
And having ridden for the Appleyard Macadam team and suffered a back injury last year, which demoted him to 7th place in the championship. Number 4, Jack Kennedy, enjoying riding for the Northern Irish team run by Mr. and Mrs. Martin, the Martrain team. His teammate Taylor McKenzie running in 16th place, just behind fellow Scotsman David Payton, right on the brink of the points, and also behind another Scotsman, Kev Coughlin, running in 14th place. At the front though, Warren still leads it, but Kennedy hounding him all the way, and never discount Ben Wilson. No. Wilson was actually a fraction quicker than Kennedy on the last lap. He's desperately trying to close the gap on that bright green Kawasaki. Wilson, runner-up last year in the championship, lost it by 1 point.
Yeah, and then we've got the trance, we've got Cooper Richards, Ian McConnell, they're all there as well.
Ben Wilson was backing it in some sort of style there into Lodge Corner. 2 laps to go. Sorry, 4 laps to go. 3 even. I don't know.
We'll get there in the end. There's some laps to go. Fastest lap of the race on that last lap, Jack. Ben Wilson, 138.5. So Kawasaki in 3rd. The green bike, there you go. He's closing him in, and we can see it. He's doing a good job here. You've got to remember, these guys are really on the pace, and he's just been patient, pinching. And Jack Kennedy looks like he's desperate to get past.
Every time you think that Ben Wilson can't conceivably try any harder, he is doing, and there he is with that 138.515, but it's only a millimetres he's drawing back. He's just fighting for every inch.
I think on this lap though, I think it's even better again compared to them, because you could visibly see he's closed that gap. So I think this lap's going to be even quicker. Well, they've just backed off a fraction, because he's definitely closer. What was it on the last lap? Half a second. I reckon that's down to 0.2, 0.3 of a second.
And Ben Wilson, of course, is just 8 points behind Sam Warren, running 3rd in the championship. So these only 8.5 points covers these 8.5 points covers these 3 riders, and all 3 of them running at the front. So this is a spectacular race with a spectacular championship outcome in prospect.
Yeah, and we've had 4 different winners so far this year. We've had Sam Warren, we've had Kennedy, we've had Glenn Richards and Billy McConnell. So, you know, it's a lot of different winners.
The Triumph's a little outpaced here today at Alton Park. Cooper running 4th, Richards 5th, Idden 6th now, ahead of McConnell in 7th. But here comes Glenn Richards, deciding he's had enough of that young whippersnapper Cooper in front of him, and he just nudges the perky Nottinghamshire boy aside and moves through into 4th place. Cooper 5th, Idden, number 21, moving into the picture in 6th place.
I just love to see Glenn Richards doing this though. You know, he's one of the older guys in the class, and he's just still such a great rider. He's so precise, so neat. He's a real pleasure to watch, and he's just still red hot on a motorcycle.
Kennedy did definitely come really quick out of Cascades, and it worked.
He did a beautiful run there. Looked like Warren just got a little held up. Kennedy swooped it through. Covering line here is getting to the sharp end of the race, and he can see he wants to be out front.
So now these howling Yamahas leading the Gearlink Kawasaki. Can number 70 on the red and white machine respond? Sam Warren, but do you know what? That will have encouraged the Kawasaki rider, Ben Wilson. He'll be thinking, right, okay, change of place, now I can have a go at him.
Like he needs any encouragement.
Yes,
but it's a 1, 2, 3 now.
Red flag to a Ben Wilson.
Now this is going to be interesting. So where they're coming out here, we come out the top, you've got to get over the front of your bike. It comes up over Clay Hill. It wants to pour the sky there. It's about 140 and then 150 mile an hour as they come round here, really fast, and down into 3rd gear here for Druids. And as you come out of here, you watch the big bump. You've got to get over the front of your bike. But this is critical if you want to pass coming down into Old Hall. Kennedy's got a good line that lap. They're not going to do it.
So Sam Warren, and then remember, this is the man. Warren backs it sideways, slamming it once again into Lodge Corner. Whoever wins this race will lead the championship between these two. There's only half a point in it at the moment.
Well, Wilson's only he's 9 points, 9.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
Don't forget don't count the round it out. Kennedy, Warren, Wilson. This is the epic battle here at Oulton Park. We've got more of this tomorrow, of course. We've got all the races covered live tomorrow afternoon, because we can't start racing here until the bells of Little Budworth have finished pealing at the local church, and then we'll get into action all through the afternoon. And this race now on the penultimate lap, Jack Kennedy back in front from Sam Warren and Ben Wilson.
That's been a really nice first part of the lap though for Jack Kennedy. He's been absolutely perfect. He's had the thing just sliding a fraction on the way out, really letting the brakes, and they just haven't been able to do anything yet. He's setting the pace and it's perfect at the moment.
And he's also quick. Look at this exit speed out of Britain's then. It pulled him away from Sam Warren. Warren in danger then from Ben Wilson. Ben trying to squeeze through on the inside as they go through the Knickerbrook chicane.
Yeah, and Glenn Richards has just broken away from Cooper and Idden as well in fourth, so he's not going to be able to bridge the gap to these three, but it looks like he's got a safe fourth. You can see Glenn Richards there, and then it's Cooper, Idden, McConnell all one. But back at the front, it's still Jack Kennedy.
Richards, of course, fourth in the championship. So right now, the top four are running in the order in which they lie in the championship.
Now, this is the best place to sparse. Is he close enough? Again, not quite in that lap. Jack Kennedy being very clever there. He's using his bike, making it very wide, making him go to the outside.
So as they dive down Deers Leap, this is going to be a dramatic final lap at Oulton Park in Cheshire. 2.7 miles to go then, here in the first of the Motorpoint British Supersport Championship races of the weekend.
Now this is it. They've just got 3 miles left. Who's going to be the winner? Jack Kennedy leads at the moment. Warren second, Wilson third. This is going to be critical.
I think Warren is thinking he might be able to reverse the process on Kennedy coming out of here if he gets the drive.
Well, he has got a good drive. Is he going to be able to go up the inside?
No.
Not quite. Kennedy very late on the brakes into there. But can he get a sweep round into Druids? Again, Kennedy's putting his bike really cleverly in the right position.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? And I think Robin Appleyard said he was a really good learner when he was riding for them last year, and I reckon that a lot of his track craft has come from that season.
These three, though, all at the top of their game. And look at Richards with this late spurt as well in fourth.
Glenn Richards, 38.5 on the last set, his fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap. So the man from Adelaide is almost getting back into the mix, but it's all really about these three at the front now.
And it's all going to be about the last corner, Jack. It always is. We've seen it so many times. What can Warren do? It's going to come down to the last corner.
He's got to find a Norrie Hager line through Druids.
Exactly.
He has to find the speed out of Druids.
He's got to get the line out of Druids. Kennedy, very precise round there. Look, he's got a big wide exit. Can he get the drive?
So he goes in wide, swoops inside. Oh,
blimey! He had that sideways.
Just completely dead. And I thought for a moment the bike had stopped. That was so dramatic. That was all his Supermoto experience saving him then. But it means that Kennedy takes it. Wilson goes second. Warren, is he third? He is. He hangs on in front of Glenn Richards after having an enormous trouser soiling moment coming through Druids then. Billy McConnell fifth, Christian Idden sixth, seventh Richard Cooper, who gets pushed back a couple of places on that final lap. Luke Mossey, Pauli Peckin and Glenn Irwin 10th to take the British Supersport Cup laurels ahead of Luke Jones. Let's see, please can we see that again? What happened with Sam Warren?
That moment from Warren, I can't tell you how close that was to an enormous accident. He knew, we were saying he had to get the drive. He tried it, the bike was on full lock. And you watch the second bike in your picture, the red bike, you watch his back wheel as he gets the drive, and watch now.
Whoa, get on, son.
It's a black, that is so close. You go down there.
I tell you what, there are moments when you're experienced as a Supermoto British champion.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's also a bit of luck now and again, and he had every angel singing for him there.
I tell you what, though, he didn't back it off, James. He hung in.
What are you on about? He had his hand up. He was like, oh my God.
Oh, that was after he'd saved it. Oh, Sam Warren, well, he may have not quite taken the championship lead, but he certainly produced the moment of the race. So Sam Warren drops back to third, gets 16 points. Jack Kennedy pulls a 9.5 points on him on that lap, on that race. Kennedy gets 25 points. Wilson is threatening. He gets 20 points. Third place for Sam Warren, fourth for Glenn Richards. So that man rewarded for his aggression. Number 15, Ben Wilson, gets that second place on that final lap.
Well, I'll tell you what though, Jack, that bodes well for the weekend, doesn't it? What a race. So, I mean, even after all that, you know, the top, what did we have? We had the top 4 all within less than 2 seconds, and it was going to be tighter than that if Warren hadn't had that moment. But I'll tell you what, Sam Warren just shut that throttle immediately shut, as you say. He would have been gone. But he actually just rolled it, and by rolling it rather than shutting it, he saved himself. But I mean, I've never ever seen someone get it so sideways there and
survive.
Actually, yeah, I mean, incredible, but what a race.
Fabulous appetizer then for tomorrow's Motorpoint British Supersport Championship race here at Alton Park. Jack Kennedy, Martrain Yamaha, takes a deserved victory after 16 and a half enthralling minutes. Ben Wilson, Gearlink Kawasaki, second. Sam Warren finishes third for the Seaton Tuning Yamaha team, just ahead of Glenn Richards, Smiths of Gloucester Triumph. Billy McConnell, his teammate and fellow Adelaidean from Australia, finishes fifth. Christian Idden, another ex-Super Motard star, brings his triumph through to 6th place ahead of Richard Cooper and Luke Mossey. Pauli Pekkanen gets 9th for Finland. 10th place and leading the British Supersport Cup, Glenn Irwin on the CN Racing Yamaha. Ahead of the 11th place Luke Jones on his triumph. Jimmy Hill, and yet another of the 675 Daytona triples, is 12th. Ahead of Sam Hornsey Suzuki. Kev Coughlin on the Appleyard Macadam Yamaha ahead of his teammate Nicky Coates. David Payton on the most beautiful Yamaha in the race finishes 16th ahead of Dean Brown, Luke Stapleford, Dean Hipwell and Taylor Mackenzie. Which means the championship standings look rather like this, with another race to go tomorrow. Jack Kennedy leads it on 80.5 ahead of Sam Warren and Ben Wilson. Glenn Richards is 4th, Billy McConnell in 5th ahead of Christian Idden. Pauli Pekkanen 7th ahead of Richard Cooper, Luke Mossey and Glenn Irwin. 11th place for Luke Jones, 12th for Jimmy Hill, Kev Coughlin in 13th ahead of Dean Hipwell and Dan Cooper. James East, who crashed early out of that race, is 16th ahead of Sam Hornsey, Dean Brown, Nicky Coates and Luke Stapleford.